Sadashiva Samarambam Shankaracharya Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Paramparam. Om Namaste. Okay, so we were looking at the final topic, which is to identify the obstacles to the proper assimilation of self-knowledge, as we have seen in the yesterday's class. If I have done Shravana, Manana, Nididhyasana, I have gone through Karma Yoga, and still I understand, I have the knowledge, but I'm not seeing the fruits of this knowledge. I'm still experiencing too much disturbance and suffering. And then the scripture says that we need to identify which are the obstacles. And then once the obstacles are identified, we need to take the remedy. We need to apply the remedy. We need to understand how to move, how to approach. So I have understood. And then we saw he says that because in this verse, Krishna presents one of the obstacles, which is my mind is restless. I'm too rajasic. So the mind is wandering all the time. So this is one of the obstacles. And therefore, he says, I don't have a stead visual yoga, of equanimity. This vision is not possible to me because my mind is all over the place. So Swami was saying that Shankaracharya, in his writings, commenting this passage of the Gita, did not elaborate on the other obstacles. But we have seen the obstacles already in previous texts. And Swamiji is going to present them. Swamiji is a big talker. He does not miss an opportunity to further explain the teachings. So the first one is layaha, means dullness of mind, sleepiness during the meditation. This is the universal problem. Don't complain. Most people in modern society so rajasic, and then most of us are tired. Some people go to have this exhaustion, I don't know, being exhausted, But since one does not stop, one keeps going, one does not get in touch with this. And then Raja Guna turns into Tamoguna in tiredness and sleepless. Or dullness of mind. So it's very common. Swamiji says that don't take it personally. Don't take it to believe that is your problem. It is everyone's problem, especially in modern society. And then sleep is a common problem. It's domination of tamoguna. The second is vikshipa. The mind is like the one of Arjuna, very, very active, overactive, hyperactive, traveling around everything. And then the mind is not going to be able to stay focused on the teachings during one's upasana or nididhyasana. This is wandering mind, vikshepa. The mind is extroverted. It's another good expression. Is wandering. The third one is the one that we want to elaborate a little bit more. Sahaya. The mind is into a state of stunnedness, shock, inactivity. the mind is non-functional, It's not asleep and it's not overactive, it's just paralyzed. It's a kind of paralysis. So it's got another textbook dealing with this topic is the Dryasa Viveka. There, Vidyaranya discusses. I'm gonna see if I make a note to look for this text. Vidyaranya discusses, he calls this the stabdi, bhava. Manas gets it. When you get a shocking news, for example, what happens to the mind? The mind somehow stays paralyzed. We see sometime in movies, no? There is a calamity or a catastrophe is happening, and my house is catching fire. I'm just in the living room and I'm paralyzed. And then people go, then grab you, say, don't be paralyzed, save your life. And then they have to drag the person because the person in shock does not move at all, So the mind stops. Sometimes the physical body stops, offers no reaction, not knowing what to do. Some tragedy has happened. The person does not manage even to cry. It's just like in shock. And then Swami presents an example of a poem or a story when the warrior's dead body is brought to his wife. The wife sees the dead body of her husband and does not cry at all. And she's not a yani or Jivan Mukta. It's because it was such a shock that she could not even cry. It's a stand condition. What is the meaning of this word stand? Student or stand? How you say that?
It's stunned, as just like shocked, stunned, you just can't move.
Shock.
Yeah, can't do anything.
Okay. So the mind is in a stunned condition, shocking condition. So now in this poem, which comes, so many people think that a person keeps a deep grief inside of the mind without expressing the sorrow. And then he says, if you have those experiences, those very shocking, traumatic experience, and you experience that paralysis for a moment, and then you never let it out, you keep building up more and more suppressed emotions, shocking, tragic. And then what's going to happen? You're going to experience a grieving condition, a sorrow, suppressed sorrow, that somehow it remains there, causing this kind of reaction to the body-mind, you understand? And the body-mind in that condition, it's not over tamasic, it's not over rajasic, it's just paralyzed, okay? So much of this suppressed material in the subconscious mind paralyzes the person. And there are even techniques in the world of mind control of individuals that they subject the people to a lot of traumatic experience, and then the mind develops this paralysis, and then a mind in that condition can receive some orders, and it just follow the orders. I don't know if you ever heard or looked into these techniques. So they use that for warriors, the warriors that go there and they are going to do exactly what is commanded to them, okay? And he even mentions here, it can kill, suppressed trauma or sorrow can even kill a person. No, it can kill a person, yeah. Spiritually, it's killing the person. The person has become a dead person, a dead walking person, huh? And then what is the remedy? You have to somehow stimulate the person to let it all out and cry and do other things, So put out the anger, the pain, the sorrow. everything has to come out. Oh my God, only I know how much I had to do of that kind of thing. Releasing when I was young. Different people say different things. She refused. She's not one to cry. She wants to keep it all in. Then an old lady comes, brings a child, and pushes the child to the lap of the mother. Suddenly, she thinks of that man, and then she bursts into tears. You understand? He's saying like sometimes there is a trigger that brings it all out. But on the conscious level, the person does not want to go there. So I know people. A person very close, a few people very close to me that never want to really tap into those areas. You understand? And it's unfortunate because those things somehow undermine our capacity to grow, to assimilate these teachings, for example.
Hey, Arlindo, your audio's cutting in and out a little bit with me. I'm not sure if it's the same with Lynn, but the audio's stopping and starting a little bit.
Not so with me.
Oh, okay. In
So
that case, it must be this end. Okay.
No, here is fine as well.
okay. So in our culture also that people do that. They try to make the person cry. The idea is in extreme emotion, the mind has a capacity to fold, to suppress those experiences. It's similar to an accident. When the pain goes beyond the limit, the brain has a capacity to fold. So after a certain point, the brain shuts off, and then there is no experience of pain anymore because it has gone beyond a certain limit. So that you do not feel the pain. The pain mechanism is temporarily stopped because it has gone beyond the limit. It's just like a fuse wire. This is a good analogy. I can't take it anymore, and then what I'm going to do, I'm going to stop feeling. And if you shut down your emotional center, and then devotion is not going to develop. So we have got a physical and emotional mental fuse wired in the body mind. In extreme accidents, the body mind will not feel pain, and the mind as well, because it's not only on the physical level, but the emotional, mental as well. In extreme traumatic, painful situation, the mind knows how to stop its functioning, and therefore the pain is suppressed inside. It's not felt. It's not expressed. Oh my God, how many people I have met in that condition? They don't have any emotional expression, They have taken so much in. And then when you see there is no life expression, emotional expression. When you want to suppress your pain, you can be 100% sure you're going to suppress your happiness as well. The potential for happiness, satisfaction, peace, it's all suppressed. If you suppress everything. When will the pain come? After some time, the pain comes when you least expect. It is a God-built mechanism. When it's too much, the mind folds it under the carpet. the mind can get, yes, paralyzed, in shock. Shankaracharya defines it, ragaha, dvesha, virya, means strong likes and dislikes that were obstaculized, no? How you say? Obstacled, no? Prevent to manifest. I mean, I likes and dislikes. So I love and hate this. I want this and I don't want that. And then I move for those things, and somehow, it comes a point that I can't handle the situation anymore because the frustration is so big. I can't control my experience. And then I have all of that. They become kind of suppressed and potential. I have likes and dislikes. I have wanting things and wanting to avoid things. But now, due to the frustration of not being able to manage these very strong likes and dislikes, so they remain there, but they don't come to expression. They don't even try to express themselves. These people, a lot of the time, they go in a situation similar to depression. They don't want to take the challenge of living in this world, and trying to accomplish whatsoever desire one has. So, but those likes and dislikes, they remain there potentially. And it somehow stuns the mind. That's why in extreme happiness, the same thing happens. So what I love so much and what I hate so much, then that this would be an example of someone who desires something so big, so big, so big, so big. Suppose a mother who believed that the child went to war and then the child died by some mistake. And then one day the child appears before her in a balcony, and the mother has no reaction of happiness. The desire was so big, but it was so profoundly suppressed. So thus, intense raga dvesha in potential condition is also responsible for that. And then when the person goes and tries to meditate, the mind goes to that state of stunned condition called by Shankaracharya kasayaha. So slightly different angles to look. But the important thing is understanding the difference between this and the dullness or depression or apathy involving excess of tamoguna. This is another condition, is a mind that somehow, is kind of dead emotionally, mentally. And then the last problem, the last obstacle, which is not the one that Arjuna is bringing to us today, is extreme relaxation, excess of sattvaguna. It brings about a nice reflection of Ananda, which is very pleasant. The mind is relaxed, the intellect is relaxed, the body is relaxed, the body-mind is one integrate organism, and then you feel a certain Ananda, peace, pleasure, satisfaction. Very, very nice, comfortable. Which is called, it's a joy, hasaha. And this joy is not the joy of Brahmananda or Atmananda. Meaning to say, this is not the joy of a hard and fast and well-established, not subject to forgetfulness, doubtless soft knowledge, meaning to say, I am Nirguna Atma, I am Brahma Ananda Atma. Aham Brahmasmi, this is my nature is Ananda, because I am the only reality. So because this joy experienced during meditation is only a conditional joy, what is the condition? It requires a mind under the dominance of a lot of sattvaguna. So when we begin meditating, we want, we do what we do, all the effort we do at the beginning is just so that we can feel peaceful, feel good, feel comfortable, feel joyful. So we go there and the mind start relaxing, the body relax, the intellect, and then there is silence, there is peace. And then, I mean, to say there is more and more sattva. And sattva makes up a sort of reflecting medium. This reflecting medium is going to reflect the true nature of the mind in its ananda feature, limitless and peaceful and joyful, secure. You enjoy it during the meditation when the mind is very quiet. And you enjoy, and when you come out of your effort to keep the mind in check, the joy goes away. So that's exactly what exactly the process I went through before I gave up meditation, shortly before self-recognition took place. So therefore, this is a pleasure that I experience only during the meditation. What kind of meditation? Just producing a reflecting medium that brings about this ananda, this sense of peace and satisfaction. But this is not the Vedantic meditation, okay? And this is a sort of meditation that gives us satisfaction, but the satisfaction come and go once we suspend our effort to keep the mind in that condition. So this is not Brahmananda joy. No. So it's not mukti or Brahmananda. The definition of a Brahmananda is a sense of fullness, wholeness, completeness, which is there throughout my day. It should not be conditioned to my state of mind. It should be there. And what is the difference between this Brahmananda or Atmananda and the Yogananda, the one gained experientially by this reflection? What is the main distinction, difference? Can you, any one of you describe the difference?
The yoga, ananda, comes and goes. It's conditional upon you being, like you said, having a sattvic mind and being in a state of meditation. Whereas the Vedantic meditation, the idea is that, or the Vedantic ananda is constantly with you once the knowledge is assimilated.
But what is the mechanism that produces this Brahmananda joy in the case of the Vedantins? What's the mechanism?
Well, you've realized your true nature, and so your true nature is infusing your mind. You're no longer subject to the likes and dislikes, so they're not upsetting you. You're still subject to them, but not to the same extent where they're disturbing you. Your mind has been harmonized, so to speak, by the Vedantic knowledge.
Okay, very good. And anything from you, Lynn?
Just the absolute essential nature of knowledge.
Yeah. Very much to the point as well. And do you want to offer something, Sylvia? Sylvia is a little bit shy, so just try to.
Yes, I agree with Mark. I would say that is the nature, Ananda is the nature of who you are. So it reflects when you establish as your identity in the self, it reflects what the self is. In the mind.
Anything in regards to the mechanism that produce this Atma Ananda, this joy? What is the mechanism that produces this joy that does not fade once I stop doing my nididhyasana, for example? What is the mechanism?
As you often say, claiming that claiming.
Yes, without a doubt, know that I am Brahman.
And once you know that you are Satchitananda Turiya, Brahman, of limitless nature, and what's the mechanism that makes this hard and fast, doubtless knowledge to produce Ananda? What is the mechanism that is there?
The likes and dislikes of the mind have largely been eliminated by the knowledge of your true nature.
Yeah.
And so the mind doesn't fluctuate to such a degree. So more sattva guna is naturally shining in your mind, and the knowledge is
Absolutely.
always there.
Yeah, I want to hear it from you guys so that it's clear for the three of you. The mechanism is very simple. You are either identified with your inferior nature or with your higher true nature. When you are identified with your body-mind, you are identified with your likes and dislikes, your vasanas. And identification with the likes and dislikes is going to produce mental fluctuations and disturbance, okay, every time your likes are not met, you know. So you're going to be constantly feeling this fluctuation because your identification is in the body-mind, in your body of vasanas or your likes and dislikes, as the likes and dislikes. So there is no way. So you do yoga meditation and there you suppress somehow your likes and dislikes, you control the mind, and then so there is a more sattva guna, which is no desires and no fears, no rajas and dveshas, or raja guna or tamo guna. And then there is more of a reflecting medium that produce the ananda. So the Ananda of the Brahmananda or Atmananda of the Yani is more or less the same Ananda of the yogi, you understand? It's the same Ananda. It's a nice reflection that happens in the mind, which is properly resolved. The only difference is that the yogi is going to create that reflecting medium through discipline, willpower, and suppression of one's ragas and dveshas. You understand? And the yani is going to, through this gradual process, is going to neutralize this ragas and dvesha by shifting its identity from the body-mind, which is full of ragas and dveshas, to consciousness, which is free and independent of everything. So that knowledge is going to, like you were pointing out, Mark, that knowledge is going to cancel, neutralize, or destroy, or remove, you know, those ragas and dveshas, desires and aversions, wantings and, and not wantings. So there is only one way to neutralize ragas and dveshas, which is to realize our true nature. And then of course, we need to take also the the suggestion, the point made by Lynn that since we already know that, we need to keep claiming until this claiming produce the internalization that establish the individual in these conditions. So the feeling of peace and satisfaction is similar, you know. I mean, I would go even to the extreme to say that the experiential ananda obtained by the yogi, because I had those experiences, are even more intense than the ananda experienced by the yani as he's cruising through the day-to-day experience of life. You understand? Because there is more concentrated. You brought a mind in such a state, and then you're going to have all these very dangerous experience of ananda, joy and bliss and whatnot, you know. It's very addictive. And the Ananda, the Brahmananda, the Ananda made, which is a mind resolved by the means of Atmayana or Brahmayana. So is a mind that is, experience this confidence, this peace, because the mind has held this knowledge, this certainty of self-knowledge, and it's present through our challenge of life. So now you have two kinds of Ananda, which is experientially speaking as well. We want the experience, we want the fruits, we want peace, we want satisfaction, we want to feel a feeling of confidence. And that is possible when this knowledge is properly assimilated, established in the mind and available, because then the desire, there is no room for those desires and fears. Once we cut our identification with the body of desires and fears, likes and dislikes, they start shrinking. They start dying off. It's a regime of fasting. You let them fast and die. Starving the drugs and inventions. You just cut this connection of identification that feeds until the knowledge destroys this identification. And then you have this condition, which is the Brahmananda or Atmayana, Ananda. Experientially, it's more or less the same. In the yoga, it can be more concentrated because the mind is so sattvic. Why? Because you are not interacting with the world. You understand? You go in deep meditation, you're going to have a wonderful experience. Then I want to meditate for the rest of my life. Okay, but what are you going to do? And your job and your wife, your husband. So it can be much more powerful, but, as we know, it does not address the fundamental problem, which is ignorance, meaning to say, I am the body mind and I'm moved by my likes and dislikes.
Thank you, Orlando. That was great.
Very good. Thank you all. I have been doing that a lot with my Portuguese class, getting people to interact more or less as if you would be in a classroom, so that we can own our knowledge. We can see it. I got the knowledge, rather than just listening to the teacher. So when I get this pleasure during my yoga, be careful. Do not fall in love with it. You should not be enamored by this pleasure. Otherwise, you will be carried away by pleasure. It's a very, very fine pleasure. It's not the five sense pleasure. It is an overall state of the mind that produces a sense of bliss and peace and satisfaction, among some other epiphanies. This experience of extreme pleasure becomes an obstacle for Vedantic assimilation of the knowledge, because who cares for assimilating knowledge to keep claiming and internalizing? I'm experiencing the greatest pleasure, much better than the best possible food and so on. Not only it's a big obstacle, but if a person begins enjoying too much of this pleasure, the person will want to walk away from the world to sit in meditation at all time. I was in contact with a guy there in Mount Shasta that was in this condition. He believed himself to be enlightened because he was doing so much meditation, and he was not functioning anymore. But he had an excuse. His excuse is, no, I only come out to do satsang. And the satsang, there were very few words. The words were disconnected. It was more like looking like Jesus, or smiling and hugging, and fragments of words. The person used to say that his guru was Ramana. He got the knowledge direct from Ramana. He got a new name from Ramana, all those things, So you're gonna miss out on life, and you want to sit all the time. And then what a guru like that one did. He said, "Oh, I mean, I'm doing this hard work here. I go deep and deep in meditation. And then when I come out, I have this beautiful expression for you guys, these teachings that you don't understand because it's all, abstract and vague. Okay, so I'm doing all of this. I can't interact with the world because otherwise, I can't do this profound work. So you guys have to do everything for me." The disciples do everything for the guru. And this guru, he fell in love with me. I never told much of this story. He said, "Oh, I have been waiting for you my whole life. You are the disciple, now mature and ready for this." And he tried to seduce me in every possible way to stay at his feet. And I left him so quickly, so rapidly for his frustration. So you have to sit in meditation forever, and you're not taking up your duty, your roles in life. If anybody comes and say, "Hey, you have to take care of your house, you take care of your children," saying you get very frustrated and angry. You want to just, walk away from family and go to the forest or to the Himalayas. You can't handle life. If the telephone rings, you upset. It became an addiction. It became an addiction, huh? Therefore, be careful with the bliss of this yoga meditation. Vedantic meditation, not to enjoy happiness in a particular condition, but to be in peace due to the understanding of your whole, full and complete nature as non-dual consciousness. And this is going to be conditioning, your interaction with the world at all times. Since once the knowledge is really firm, it's always there. There are some challenges, some tough conditions here, but the knowledge is there. And you may get a little bit concerned in it, but the knowledge is there, and immediately you reestablish your Ananda nature, say, all is okay, this is all Maya. We are not against conditional pleasures. Ananda is also, it also offers experiential satisfaction, as I was telling before, but it's a byproduct, it's a bonus, okay? Fundamentally, we always want that. We begin the search trying to replace suffering with happiness. And then we come at a crossroad in which you either become a yogi trying to escape the world to experience satisfaction and peace, or you become a Vedantin so that you can experience pleasure and satisfaction in spite of the world. So this pleasure is there in the mind of the Jnani, yes. But if you are limited to your session of meditation, this is an obstacle. It's an addiction. It's slavery. And then what should you do? Instead of enjoying that pleasure, you have to dwell upon the teaching, which says that Ananda is your true nature, because Ananda goes for one without a second. Ananda goes to limitlessness, which is something which is a one without any border or limit. It's the only reality. So this is the meaning of limitlessness. And you want to enjoy that not only during the session of meditation, but through your activities in life. Therefore, we need this knowledge to be firm, always available. So these are the 4 obstacles. And what are the remedies? Gaudapada himself says the sleep should be countered by 2 methods. One is remove the cause of sleeping. and the other is practice. You remove the cause of sleep, and then the other is practice. You start training the mind not to fall asleep. You address the cause, but you still do the practice, okay? To educate the mind not to fall asleep. Why? Because the mind, especially in India, the Indian people, they have no problem to go into deep sleep sitting in a meditation posture, So you have to tell the mind that, no, I'm sitting here, but it's meditation, it's not to have a nap again. So you educate the mind to say, no, this is dhyana session here, okay? And the other, removing the cause that Swami presents here. It could be excess of food or lack of food. There are many other reasons as well, excess of activities that makes the body too tired. Understand? So what causes sleep? The Shastra, the scripture discuss what causes the sleep. Everything is in Sanskrit, therefore I will present it to you. So if you eat too much, your mind is going to tend to become more tamasic. If you have a full stomach and you try to meditate, or you always have a full stomach because you have the habit of overeating, and then all the blood circulation is going to be sucking the energy that is needed for you to do your upasana or nididhyasana. So the other one is lack of sleep. Nobody managed to sleep with an empty stomach. You are hungry. When you are hungry, you're going to be meditating on food. And if you start having problems with sleep, you have a backlog of sleep. What is going to happen to you? Your body is going to become weak as well, because the body requires a certain amount of sleep. If you do not give the required amount of sleep to the body, and if you say, no, I'm so disciplined, I don't care, I'm going to meditate overnight from 4 to 7 in the morning or whatever, and then I'm cutting down even more hours of sleep. And then when you go to Gita class or you try to do some other things, you may fall asleep. Therefore, give the devil its due, like that. Whatever is required amount of sleep, you give that to the body. Jesus addressing the problem, removing the cause. Nidra Sisaha. Okay. The 3 problems. That is one thing. The second thing is abhyasa. The mind is never habituated to meditate. The mind goes by the law of association. So you need to educate the mind in that sense as well, like we educate the dog or any other pet. You associate the dog or the cat to do certain things, and then you reward the pet. Similarly, what is our association? Association is every time we sit quietly and you close our eyes, the body will believe that you want to go into sleep. Why? Because you are not doing anything. And you have done so much because you are too rajasic. Now the body is tired. The body sits and then close your eyes and the body will say, okay, finally enough. This person is going to provide me with my sleep. So the mind associates this closing of the eyes and withdraw from activities with sleep alone. Therefore, you have to re-educate the mind. You say, no. Let's not get confused here. The message here is that this is time for meditation. The mind will learn by practice. This is the method of remedying the problem of sleep. The next one is viveksha, viveksha, vikshepa, sorry, is vikshepa, how to handle a wandering mind, how to handle. Gaudapada Charya says that abhyasaha, vairagya, three words in Sanskrit, again, practices and vairagyan he presents. So you need to practice to educate the mind not to go all over the place. And at the same time, you need to develop vairagya. And about which I will mention later, which Krishna will himself deal with in the next verse or chapters. I will deal with it when Krishna himself does it, and not, I do not want to independently deal with it right now. But what he's pointing to is like a practice, abhyasa, and vairagya. How you get vairagya? Dispassion by having the knowledge, the teaching, having understood the teachings, that the objects that appear in my mind as thoughts of the objects, they don't really provide the ananda that they suggest to have. So you develop vairagya by understand the defects on all objects of pleasure. Understand? So practice and knowledge, okay? Willpower and knowledge. Knowledge of what? Of the defects inherent to all objects of desire. Therefore, I keep educate my mind by practice, by knowledge, willpower and knowledge. And the third obstacle is kasayaha. When the mind has hidden complaints, suppressed sorrows, guilt, pain, anger, jealousy, which I could not express in the past due to various reasons. Those things can stultify or stun the mind. So just imagine a child being traumatized at early age, purposely or not purposely, deliberately or not. But the child has no way to process those extreme experiences. He has no way to deal with it. The only defense the child has is to suppress that kind of pain, that kind of sorrow. So the child learns to suppress anything that is incomprehensible to a small mind, a small intellect. He cannot process and he cannot express because, he cannot elaborate very much what's happening. So when I was small, the only thing I was doing is I was throwing a tantrum. That was the way I was expressing it, and crying and so on. And that sometimes does not pay much, and then I would get some punishment if I would throw much tantrums. Yeah? So we keep those things inside, and that will stultify or stun the mind. Therefore, when I sit in meditation, the mind can be paralyzed because of suppressed emotions. So again, I'm explaining that with different language. And the biggest problem is that you cannot tap into what is the emotional material that is causing this paralysis. Why? Because it is in the unconscious mind. I have suppressed so much in my unconscious mind, and now I don't know how to address it. So what was this trauma that has brought this paralysis, emotional paralysis, mental paralysis? What was that? Which is the emotion I have suppressed? What was the trauma I have suppressed? And then the only thing I can do is I better keep quiet and wait if Ishvara bless me, one day this suppressed emotion is going to surface. And once it surfaces, I have a better possibility to connect that burst, to its cause, to see what was the problem. We see in this emotional level now, therapeutic emotional treatments, that people, they connect even physical terminal illness with suppressed emotion. Okay. I say, oh my God, it came out. Now I see it was related to Jesus, and Jesus had happened to me in my infant. And now I can love my mother, I can love my father, I can love my wife, and now I can be cured from this cancer or whatever. The mind is wonderful. Computer is a wonderful computer capable of storing all these experiences. So many good things have happened. All that is not stored. These negative things are only stored in a deep, profound way. So he's presenting a nice insight here. The mind is incredible computer. It does not record and register and stores all experience in the subconscious mind. It does not. There's no need. You just process experience and then you leave them, and then it fades. You want to allow room in your subconscious mind for more material to come. When it's full of unresolved negative things, and then you don't have even room for new experience to be stored there. So many good things have happened. These negative things are the one mostly stored in a very deep way, and it will smart suffer. What is this expression? And it will smart suffer. That it will suffer when there is an idle condition. When people decide to slow alone in ashram, it can surface because the other problems are not there. Okay, I understood. So this negative traumatic experience, they are stored, but they are so deeply suppressed, that they don't come to the surface. But there are certain conditions that are going to make it, rise to the conscious mind, and then it can be experienced. When people decide to slow down, a lot of people who are overactive, they are overactive not to allow these conditions to surface. But if you go to the ashram of my first guru and you stay there for some time, having darshan with the guru in a very sattvic environment, during the darshans, the problems may come to surface. What comes to surface? What is in there? Oh, but I had so many beautiful experiences. Those things do not need to be suppressed and stored in the unconscious mind. He's pointing to the fact that what is stored there is something that was suppressed because it was too painful for you to process. You remember the story when I went to Pune to live there, and then I stayed a few months there. On those days, we had two satsangs a day, 2 darshans, early morning and late afternoon. And I was in heaven. And then out of the blue, I had that experience of being tortured to death in a desert by 2 or 3 people. And it was something which was not a dream. It was an emotional release of something that was there. And there was something that was there from my previous birth, some previous birth. It somehow is surfaced because I was no longer busy trying to survive or trying to, to find satisfaction in life. So be careful with the slow down and be quiet, because things that are suppressed suppress may surface. Normally, a grihastha lifestyle, grihastha ashram lifestyle, we have so many things to deal with. Therefore, we do not give room for past suppressed problems to surface. I sometimes, I now I stop to present this concept, which is life, special modern lifestyle, which is a bombardment of experience, of circumstance, hitting us, information and many things, hitting us all the time. And it's difficult to process experience. It's difficult to process karma. It's difficult to process our likes and dislikes, So we often go into a condition that sometimes I call karmic indigestion, okay? So we are not being able to process experience and then be free or put it to sleep, as Ramji used to say. So as a grihastha, we have to deal with so many things. But if you go to a very quiet environment, some of this material can emerge. So if it emerges, so just know it is natural, normal, let it out. That's why many people find that when they go to the Bhagavan, they will cry. When they go to Swamiji's, they will cry. We experience that they cry in torrents because of something that happened in the past. That now they are in an environment that somehow allows things to come to surface. So Gaudapada says that if there are suppressed emotions, you need to let them out. Do not suppress. So now the challenge is how to live. We have we have accumulated some suppressed traumatic experience or emotion. And then nowadays, the processing of experience is so fast that we have to be careful not to add up more suppressed emotions on top of that, So be alert. And I tell you, to be a human being, at least in this planet, is such a huge challenge. You have to process all the time experience, not to have constipation or indigestion. So he even suggests something that my first guru, that I cannot mention the name, that used to do a session only to cry, a session only to let out anger, jealous, all those things. You see, there is a value on what my first guru has offered us at the time. Finally, this problem must be tackled by proper discrimination, that this pleasure that I enjoy in meditation is not conditional pleasure. He went back to the excess of sattva guna. This pleasure that I enjoy in meditation is a conditional pleasure. It depends on the mind. It's depending on the mind that's more sattvic, because the Yani's mind is more sattvic. That's why he enjoys ananda, peace, satisfaction, confidence. But this pleasure is conditioned to a suppression of ragas and dvesha, likes and dislikes. So you need to suppress that by producing a quiet mind that later on is going to rebel, and it's going to move all over the place, bringing up again the ragas and dveshas as before. So it's conditional to the sadhana, the effort you do to suppress likes and dislikes. if you stop suppressing, and then they come back, and then you feel like you lost your bliss. So one thing is, pleasure that I enjoy meditation, I should not become a slave of this experiential ananda based on suppression of likes and dislikes. On the other hand, I have to apply knowledge, remind my nature is punaha. But not at the time of meditation, but I am punaha at all times, not only at the time of meditation, but all times. So what is the difference between the Vedantic meditation and this meditation? Vedantic meditation, you do as upasana or nididhyasana, okay? You are just remembering the teachings, bring them up until they are well established in one's mind. So you do that in your own meditation. And then the ananda you experience in meditation is what it is. But then when you stand up and stop doing your nididhyasana, so the knowledge remains accessible to you as you interact with your day-to-day experience. It's there. I am the only reality. I'm one without a second. I am non-dual consciousness. I'm not associated with anything. I'm pure. Nothing can affect me. So this knowledge must be there all the time to produce this Brahmananda, Atma, Yana, Ananda. So you also need to use the teachings, and Viveka, discrimination is the remedy. So what is the discrimination? The most important discrimination in this condition, and discriminating an experience that is temporary, fleeting moment or impermanent peace that somehow fades. I'm going to discriminate that experiential ananda from the experiential ananda of a mind with a firm, clear, and well-established self-knowledge. And how I'm going to do that? By again and again say, no, thank you. You are the most beautiful. You are Nanda, bliss. And you were my lady for such a long time, but now I want divorce. I want knowledge. I don't want to be dependent. Knowledge is the only thing that's going to make us claim our independent, free nature. Now Arjuna is talking about only one obstacle, which is Rajoguna, wandering mind. Here Arjuna complains, oh, my mind is terrible. I can't do that. I cannot dwell in meditation. I cannot dwell in the Vedanta teachings. And then there is much more to be said, but we're going to leave it for next Monday. Anything else, please? Thank you for contributing to our class today with your knowledge. Thank you, Sylvia. I'm going to pull your leg now more often.
Okay.
Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Namaste. This Friday we're back with the new text. I'm gonna, today is a good day for me to read read some of it. Namaste.
Great. Thank you, Arlindo.
Thank you.